Chapter first: The living world. How wonderful is the living world! The wide range of living types is amazing. The extraordinary habitat in which we find living organisms, be it cold mountains, deciduous forests, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts, or hot springs, leave us speechless. The beauty of a galloping horse, of the migrating birds, the value of flower, or the attacking sharks evokes away and a deep sense of wonder. The ecological conflict and cooperation among the member of population and among the populations of a community, or even the molecular traffic inside a cell, make us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. This question has two implicit questions within it. The first is a technical one and seeks answer to what living as opposed to non-living. And second is a philosophical one and seek answer to what the purpose of life is. As scientists, we shall not attempt answering the second question. We will try to reflect on what is living. 1.1 Diversity in the living world. If you look around, you will see a large variety of living organisms, be it potted plants, insects, birds, your pets, or other animals and plants. There are also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye, but they are all around you. If you were to increase the area that you make observations in, the range and variety of organisms that you see would increase. Obviously, if you were to visit a dense forest, you would probably see a much greater number and kinds of living organisms in it. Each different kind of plant, animal, or organism that you see represent a species. The number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 million. This refers to biodiversity, or the number and type of organisms present on Earth. We should remember here that as we explore new areas or even old ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. As stated earlier, there are millions of plants and animals in the world. We know that plants and animals in our own area by their local names. These local names would vary from place to place, even within a country. Probably you would recognize the confusions that would be created if we did not find ways and means to talk to each other, to refers to organism we are talking about. Hence, there is a need to standardize the naming of living organisms such that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. This process is called nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or naming is only possible when the organism is described correctly, and we know to what organism the name is attached to. This is identification. In order to facilitate the study, number of scientists have established procedure to assign a scientific name to each known organism. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, scientific names are based on the agreed principles and criteria which be provided in the International Code for Botanical Nomenclature (ICBN). You may ask, how are animals named? Animal taxonomists have used International Code of Zoological Nomenclature (ICZN). The scientific names ensure that each organism has only one name. Description of any organism should enable the people in any part of the world to arrive at the same name. They also ensure that such a name has not been used for any other known organism. Biologists follow universally accepted principles to provide scientific names to known organisms. Each name has two components, the generic name and the specific epithet. This system of providing name with two components is called binomial nomenclature. This naming system was given by Linnaeus, Carolus Linnaeus, is being practiced by biologists all over the world. This naming system used a two-word format was found convenient. Let us take the example of mango to understand the way of providing scientific names better. The scientific name of mango is written as Mangifera indica. Let us see how it is a binomial name. In this name, Mangifera represents the genus while indica is a particular species or a specific epithet. Other universal rules of nomenclature are as follows. Number 1. Biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. Number 2. The first word in the biological name represents the genus while the second component denotes the specific epithet. Number 3. Both the words in the biological name when handwritten are separately underlined or printed in italics to indicate their Latin origin. Number 4. The first word denoting the genus start with a capital letter while the specific epithet start with a small letter. It can be illustrated with the example of Mangifera indica. Name of the author appears after the specific epithet, that is, at is the end of biological name and is written in an abbreviated form. Example, Mangifera indica Linn. It indicates that this species was first described by Linnaeus. Since it is nearly impossible to study all living organisms, it is necessary to devise some means to make it this possible. This process is classification. Classification is the process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. For example, we easily recognize groups such as plants or animals, or dogs, cats, or insects. The moment we use any of these terms, we associate certain characters with the organism in that group. What image do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each one of will us see dogs and not cats. Now, if we were to think of Alsatians, we know what we are talking about. Similarly, suppose we were to say mammals, you would of course think of animals with external ears and body hairs. Likewise, in plants, if we try to talk of wheat, the picture of each of our minds will be of wheat plants, not of rice or any other plant. Hence, all these dogs, cats, mammals, wheat, rice, plants, animals, etc., are convenient categories we use to study organisms. The scientific term for these categories is taxa. Here, you must recognize that taxa can indicate categories at very different levels. Plants also form a taxa, wheat is also a taxa. Similarly, animals, mammals, dogs are all taxa. But you know that a dog is a mammal and mammals are animals. Therefore, animals, mammals, and dogs represent taxa at different level. Hence, based on the characteristic, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is taxonomy. External and internal structure, along with the structure of cell, development process, and ecological information of organism are essential and forms the basis of modern taxonomic studies. Hence, characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature are the processes that are basic to taxonomy. Taxonomy is not something new. Human beings have always been interested in knowing more and more about various kinds of organisms, particularly with reference to their own use. In early days, human beings needed to find source for their basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter. Hence, the earliest classification were based on the uses of various organisms. Human beings were since long not only interested in knowing more about different kinds of organisms and their diversities, but also the relationship among them. This branch of study was referred to as systematics. The word systematics is derived from the Latin word systema, which means systematic arrangement of organisms. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. The scope of systematics was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. Systematics takes into account evolutionary relationship between organisms. 1.2 Taxonomic categories. Classification is not a single step process but involves hierarchy of steps in which each steps represent a rank or category. Since the category is the part of overall taxonomic arrangement, it is called the taxonomic category, and all categories together constitute the taxonomic hierarchy. Each category, referred to as a unit of classification, in fact represent a rank and is commonly termed as taxon, plural taxa. Taxonomic categories and hierarchy can be illustrated by an example. Insects represent a group of organisms sharing common features like three pairs of jointed legs. It means insects are recognizable concrete objects which can be classified and thus were given a rank or category. Can you name other such groups of organisms? Remember, groups represent category, category further denotes rank, and rank or taxon in fact represent a unit of classification. These taxonomic groups, categories are distinct biological entities and not merely morphological aggregates. Taxonomical studies of all known organisms have led to the development of common categories such as kingdom, phylum, division for plants, class, order, family, genus, and species. All organisms, including those in the plant and animal kingdom, have species as the lowest category. Now, the question you may ask is how to place an organism in various categories. The basic requirement is the knowledge of characters of an individual or group of organisms. This helps in identifying similarities and dissimilarities among the individuals of the same kind of organisms as well as of other kinds of organisms. 1.2.1 Species. Taxonomic studies consider a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities as a species. One should be able to distinguish one species from other closely related species based on the distinct morphological differences. Let us consider Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum potato, and Panthera leo loyan. All the three names indica, tuberosum, and leo represent the specific epithet, while the first word Mangifera, Solanum, and Panthera are the genera and represents other higher level of taxon or category. Each genus may have one or more than one specific epithets representing different organisms, but having morphological similarities. For example, Panthera has another specific epithet called Tigris, and Solanum include species like Nigrum and Melongena. Human beings belong to the species Sapien, which is grouped in the genus Homo. The scientific name thus for human being is written as Homo sapien. 1.2.2 Genus. Genus comprises a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to species of other genera. We can say that genera are aggregates of closely related species. For example, potato and brinjal are two different species, but both belong to the genus Solanum. Lion, Panthera leo, leopard, Panthera pardax, and tiger, Panthera tigris, with several common features, are all species of the genus Panthera. This genus differ from another genus Felis, which included cats. 1.2.3 Family. The next category, family, has a group of related genera with still less number of similarities as compared to genus and species. Families are characterized on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive features of plant species. Among plants, for example, three different genera Solanum, Petunia, and Zathura are placed in a family Solanaceae. Among animals, for example, genus Panthera comprises lion, tiger, leopard is put along with genus Felis cats in the family Felidae. Similarly, if you observe the features of cat and dog, you will find some similarities and some differences as well. They are separated into different families, Felidae and Canidae respectively. 1.2.4 Order. You have seen earlier that categories like species, genus, and family are based on the number of similar characters. Generally, order and other higher taxonomic categories are identified based on the aggregates of character. Order, being a higher category, is the assemblage of families which exhibit a few similar features or characters. These similar characters are less in number as compared to different genera included in the family. Plant families like Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae are included in the order Polymoniales, mainly based on the floral characters. The animal order Carnivora included families like Felidae and Canidae. 1.2.5 Class. This category included related orders. For example, order Primata comprising monkey, gorilla, gibbon is placed in class Mammalia along with order Carnivora, which includes animals like tiger, cat, and dog. Class Mammalia has other order also. 1.2.6 Phylum. Classes comprising animals like fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, along with mammals constitute the next higher category called phylum. All these based on the common features like presence of notochord and dorsal hollow neural system are included in phylum Chordata. In case of plant, classes with a few similar characters are assigned to a higher category called division. 1.2.7 Kingdom. All animals belonging to various phyla are assigned to the highest category called Kingdom Animalia in the classification system of animals. The kingdom Plantae, on the other hand, is distinct and comprises all plants from various divisions. Henceforth, we will refer to these two groups of animal and plant kingdoms. The taxonomic category from species to kingdom have been shown in ascending order starting with species in figure 1.1. Taxonomic categories showing hierarchical arrangement in ascending order. Species, then genus, then family, then order, then class, then phylum or division, then kingdom. These are broad categories. However, taxonomists have also developed subcategories in the hierarchy to facilitate more sound and scientific placement of various taxa. Look at the hierarchy in figure 1.1. Can you recall the basis of arrangement? Say for example, as we go higher from species to kingdom, the number of common characters goes on decreasing. Lower the taxa, more the characters that the members share within the taxon share. Higher the category, greater the difficulty of determining the relationship of other taxa at the same level. Hence, the problem of classification becomes more complex. Table 1.1 indicate the taxonomic categories to which some common organisms like housefly, man, mango, and wheat belong. Table 1.1 Organism with taxonomic categories. Common name mango. Biological name Mangifera indica. Genus Mangifera. Family Anacardiaceae. Order Sapindales. Class Dicotyledone. Phylum or division Angiospermi. Common name man. Biological name Homo sapien. Genus Homo. Family Hominidae. Order Primata. Class Mammalia. Phylum or division Chordata. Common name wheat. Biological name Triticum aestivum. Genus Triticum. Family Poaceae. Order Poace. Class Monocotyledone. Phylum or division Angiospermi. Common name Housefly. Biological name Musca domestica. Genus Musca. Family Mucidae. Order Diptera. Class Insecta. Phylum or division Arthropoda. Summary. The living world is rich in variety. Millions of plants and animals have been identified and described, but a large number still remains unknown. The very large range of organisms in terms of size, color, habitats, physiological and morphological features make us seek the defining characteristic of living organisms. In order to facilitate the study of kinds and diversity of organisms, biologists have evolved certain rules and principles for identification, nomenclature, and classification of organisms. The branch of knowledge dealing with this aspect is referred to as taxonomy. The taxonomic studies of various species of plants and animals are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry, and in general for knowing our bioresources and their diversity. The basics to taxonomy, like identification, naming, and classification of organisms, are universally evolved under international codes. Based on the resemblance and distinct differences, each organism is identified and assigned a correct scientific biological name comprising two words as per the binomial system of nomenclature. An organism represents occupy a place or a position in the system of classification. There are many categories, rank, and are generally referred to as taxonomic categories or taxa. All categories constitute the taxonomic hierarchy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.